their society to create this night well, a conduit of dark energy that is the center of Suramar's power. So this is a 10-boss raid, very traditional, somewhat reminiscent of Black Temple in terms of its layout and structure. You begin in an underground catacomb, essentially a back entry because you can't go through the front gate, work your way up to sort of outdoor balconies, royal quarters, and eventually to the heart of the night well itself. We will confront both the Grand Magistrix and Gul'dan, who has come here as an ambassador of the Legion. We've been chasing Gul'dan for a long time, since really the beginning of Warlords of Draenor, when we made that fateful mistake of clicking on him and setting him free to begin our Warlords experience. But finally, he's cornered, he's not going to be able to run after this. Gul'dan is the ultimate boss of Suramar Palace Raid. Now, I just wanted to show you a concept of what the palace itself is going to look like. And now I know if you really love orcs and spikes and fire and fel, this might disappoint you. I know you might have been hoping for yet another raid since you heard Gul'dan. Okay, it's going to be a green orc raid, right? No. This is the Royal Elven City, the Palace of Suramar. They are an elevated, elegant, magical race, magical civilization, and their architecture reflects that. So this is going to be a very different type of look for a raid than we've seen in the recent past, and I can't wait to have you explore it. Can't wait until you can see it for yourselves. So without further ado, let's hear more about the thing you all want to hear about. Let me hand it off to Tom, and he'll tell you all about the Demon Hunter.
All right, the Demon Hunter. Dämonenjäger. Yeah? Let's talk first about character creation. Obviously, character creation is a huge part of building your character and really getting into it, getting a sense for what the character is. So we have a slew of different options for you that are really unique to the Demon Hunter so that you can really feel like it's properly expressing the class. So here's a lineup of a variety of different options that we'll have for you. As you can see, one of the kind of features that first jumps out and grabs your eyes is the horns. The Demon Hunters have the ability to have horns, a number of different horn styles, horn types, horn sizes. We'll even have the option to have no horns at all if there's something mentally wrong with you. Of course, we have some other features too. We have the tattoos that you see. A lot of Demon Hunter class-specific armor really kind of exposes those muscles so you can show off your awesome tats. Different types of tattoos, different shapes, different colors, all sorts of good times there. We have skin variations, some of them scaly and demonic, others normal. And then finally, we also have the different types of eyewear. So you can have the traditional Illidan-style eyewear, or you can have a veil, or some other different kinds of looks. So, taking a look at all that and really kind of getting a sense for what that is, let's look at what that looks like on the actual character creation screen. So right at the end there, you got to get a little glimpse into what it looks like to be a metamorphosized Demon Hunter. So let's take a look at what that is, and let's explore more what the entire Demon Hunter experience is. And so the Demon Hunter, as you might have seen in the video, is a hero class. And to us, what that means is they have a very unique starting experience, a lot the same way that the Death Knight did in Wrath of the Lich King. So the Demon Hunter will both have that unique kind of experience and also start at a very high level so that you can immediately flow into the Legion content and not have to go through older content to do that. So the Demon Hunter Awoken. Demon Hunter first comes into our storyline after having been awoken in the Vault of the Wardens. The Wardens, desperate because of the Legion invasions, have thrown the switch to awaken the Demon Hunters, desperate for their help, because when you're going to fight the Legion, Demon Hunters might come in handy. It's kind of part of the name, like Alex said. But before you do that, you'll actually get to take part in the events that take place 10 years back in time at the Black Temple, when you, as a member of the Illidari, are sent off by Illidan on a crucial mission to the world of Mardoon. And so you get to see that little world of Mardoom right here. Take a look at a video that shows that. So that's a little glimpse of what our world would look like, Azeroth, if we fail in our mission to stop the Legion. Don't want that. Otherwise, might as well all be warlocks. All right, so next up, we want to talk a little bit about specs and skills. So the Demon Hunter obviously is going to have specs like other classes will. And those specs that we're going to be talking about are Havoc and Vengeance. Havoc is the DPS spec, Vengeance being a tanking spec. So for the Demon Hunters, we're actually going to be doing 2 specs. The reason for that is, as we thought about Demon Hunters and what they might be and what the fantasy of a Demon Hunter is, clearly DPS comes to mind. I mean, we would be remiss if we didn't include DPS. So that's kind of an automatic. We also thought it'd be really cool because metamorphosis is a big part of being a Demon Hunter, and we have these awesome metamorphosized forms that'd be great to be a tank. That could be a really fun experience that makes sense with being a Demon Hunter also. Demon Hunter Healer, though? Not so much. A little bit weird for us, so we felt like that was kind of out of the dignity of the class. So instead, we wanted to concentrate the coolness and really focus on 1 melee spec, 1 DPS, and 1 tanking spec. So we feel like that's really the right thing for the Demon Hunter to make them both awesome. So here's a couple of different abilities that are unique to Demon Hunters, of course. The first one we have here is Fell Rush, where you can rush forward, dealing a bunch of damage to anybody in your path. Generates Fury, also Demonic Fury. That's your resource. As you use some abilities, they build up Demonic Fury, and other abilities cost Demonic Fury. Fell Rush also has an interesting characteristic of having multiple charges, so you can charge multiple times in battle. We have Chaos Strike, which is pretty basic Demonic Fury spender to do a bunch of damage, everybody in front of you. Chaos Nova, that does area effect damage and also stuns people in a radius on a cooldown. You can also use a ranged ability called Eye Beam. Use those cool little eyewear that you have to focus those beams, zap a bunch of enemies at range. Spectrosight, that's something that's very unique to Demon Hunters and really kind of a defining trait of Demon Hunters. The ability there is when you turn on Spectrosight, and that's kind of part of why you pulled your eyes out to be a Demon Hunter, is that it gives you the ability to see through walls. So you can see your enemies through the walls. Come in really handy in a lot of battlegrounds. In addition, Vengeful Retreat, another movement ability that helps keep Demon Hunters really mobile. But of course, if a Demon Hunter is going to retreat, he's going to do it vengefully. So first, we've got a couple little videos to show you what some of these abilities look like. The first one you're going to see is Fell Rush, just very simple kind of dash forward. So let's look at that. There you go. Used multiple times in succession, right away, boom, boom. Wants to travel, wants to go through and deal damage. Next up, we have the Eye Beam ability, give you a little sense of what that looks like. Zap. And then finally, we have an ability that's also unique to Demon Hunters to talk about that I haven't mentioned yet. That ability is something that we call Double Jump. So, as a Demon Hunter, you're actually going to be able to jump, and then as you're in the air, jump again. Because you're more agile, you're quicker than other races or classes, and, it's really cool and handy to be able to get over obstacles that no other class can actually get over. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Oh yeah, double jump. So next up we have a little video that has a couple of these different combat abilities mixed together to give you a little bit more of a sense of what Demon Hunter combat looks and feels like. Good times. All right, so hopefully you guys are excited to play Demon Hunters as we are. I know around the office we're all kind of crazy in the head about it, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Next up, I want to talk about the new PvP honor system. Now, as we mentioned in this video, we're doing an entirely new PvP honor system, calling this version 3. And so to set a little bit of context for that, I want to talk a little bit about the evolution of the honor system over time and set the foundation for why it is that we're going to do what we're doing. So let's look back to version 1. So I had the great honor and opportunity to be able to do a lot of the design work on the original honor system. And at the time when we first launched it, early in World of Warcraft's lifetime, it was really intended to be something that gave players that wanted PvP something to get excited about and be able to progress in. But it had a couple of critical flaws that led to it being phased out in Burning Crusade. I don't know how many of you played back in the day, the original honor system. But it was pretty cool for a while. And that's because anytime you killed enemy players, you did battlegrounds, captured objectives, that sort of thing, you would gain honor. And at the end of the week, we would tally up all the honor that each player got. And then we would rank them based on how much honor they got compared to each other, which is fine and dandy in theory. The problem is, you guys are willing to spend an incredible amount of time every single day farming honor, making it impossible for a lot of people to keep up. We had players that weren't even playing their own characters, having their guildmates log in their characters so they could be the #1 honor character that week. Literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that character had to be in battlegrounds, fighting to retain their rank. And the moment they stopped, even after becoming a high warlord or grand marshal, they started losing their ranks. So that was a little bit too brutal. So in Burning Crusade, we moved to a system that was a lot simpler. It's also, carried us for a long time from Burning Crusade all the way to Warlords. That system is essentially a currency system, right? You kill enemy players, you get honor from battleground objectives, etc., and you get currency. You then buy stuff with it, buy PvP gear. It introduced the concept of PvP gear, and this kind of gave us one little tuning point for PvP. It meant that we could do set bonuses that would alter your character a little bit, but ultimately it was still essentially the same character that you're playing in PvE. And that had a lot of limitations, and it's kind of it's gotten aged. We feel like it's really time to update it and address some of those core issues. For example, we've gotten a lot of feedback that gear has way too much to do with PvP. And so we really want to dial back the effect that gear has. For example, if you look at a character here on the left, you're going to see a character that has the introductory honor gear. And their base item level, in this case, is only 620. You have a character on the right that has the fully maxed out Conquest gear, and their item level at 700 makes them 80% more powerful, almost twice as powerful, even when you factor in both of them getting scaled up for PvP. Almost twice as powerful as the other player. And that doesn't really feel right in PvP. It's just not that fun to have players running around with that huge of a power disparity. So we felt like we needed a new system that addresses that and really kind of makes sure that while gear can play a role, it plays almost no role in terms of how powerful you are. So that brings us to Honor System version 3. Starts in World of Warcraft Legion, goes on forever. I'm sure we'll never do a version 4. That would be ridiculous. So here's a look at what that is. And essentially what that is a PvP talent system. So as you gain honor, you'll actually progress through honor ranks, from honor rank 1 to honor rank 50. And as you progress through those ranks, you earn a number of different perks and bonuses, and the most important ones being these PvP talents that you unlock. These PvP talents are designed completely for PvP. They give us the opportunity that our PvP team has actually been asking for me for a long time to be able to balance PvP more independently of PvE, because these abilities will only work in places like battlegrounds and arenas. So as you progress through the honor talent tree, you'll unlock the abilities, starting actually top to bottom. So you can very quickly get up to the maximum power that your character can possibly have in terms of just sheer number of abilities and effects and passives, etc. And as you progress through that tree, you'll then go on and start unlocking the next row. And that gives you some more options to play with on your character. You might, prefer mind quickness, versus, the train of thought talent, for example. And then finally, you unlock it all at level 50. And so, really that brings us to this idea that we want to take a look at what some of these, PvP talents could be. Some examples here. Obviously, only a few examples, and obviously there's going to be a lot of balancing and tuning and tweaking of these PvP talents as we go through the beta process and all that. So some of these may change significantly, but here are some of the core ideas. For example, this first one, the Abolish Magic talent. We envision that as being a talent for the Discipline Priest, because we think that the Discipline Priest, in order to restore some of the distinction to all the different PvP specs in the game, all the different specs in the game in general, we feel like the thing that Discipline is the best at is dispelling abilities, dispelling magical effects. So here they have this ability on a 20-second cooldown that dispels all magic effects every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. It replaces your dispel magic abilities, just better. Another option here, Adaptation. This one is a kind of core anti-crowd control ability, where anytime you're struck by a crowd control effect, you become immune for a little while, and then it has an internal cooldown. We've seen similar sorts of things in other games like Heroes of the Storm, for example. We also have Blood and Soil. This is a talent for shamans, and it allows your bloodlust to have a shorter cooldown, but be something that only affects yourself and a single target rather than the entire group. So it gives you a different spin on an ability that you already have. Another different example would be Initiation. This is one that really helps you open up on characters that have, max XP. I mean, not XP, but HP. They're at full health, so it gives you a boost your crit chance when you first start up on them. We have Mind Quickness, a basic passive, increasing your haste. That gives us kind of a tuning knob for how powerful you can be in PvP versus PvE. Necrotic Strike is another really interesting example, because in the Necrotic Strike example, this is an ability that Death Knights have had in the past that allows them to build up a heal absorb effect that kind of absorbs incoming heals on the enemy target, which is really cool in PvP in a lot of ways, but didn't really have a lot of use for PvE. And in a world where that's just going to jumble up a lot of people's action bars, it feels a lot better to have that kind of thing in a PvP talent system where those talents that really make sense for PvP can be preserved and have that role in the game and really feel like they're focused and we know exactly what they're for. So that brings us to the next concept, which is Prestige. This is a concept that we've seen in other games, obviously like Call of Duty. And the concept here is that if you want to, you can essentially reset your honor level and go through it again. And the reason to do this would be for cosmetic rewards entirely. So if you're the type of person that just wants to be as powerful as possible with all the different PvP options, gameplay options available, you get to honor level 50, you're done, call it a day, have fun, kill a bunch of enemies, upgrade your gear slightly, and have a good time. But if you're the kind of person that really likes the prestige type of rewards, the cosmetic things, then you hit the prestige button, get the little warning dialogue that'll set you back to level 1 of honor rank, and then you go on your way toward earning some cosmetic stuff. So for example, you can earn portrait badges to show how many times your character has prestige. So as you can see here on the different portraits, you have an escalating badge that gets more and more impressive. This is where we can have things like unique mounts. So in this example, it's one of the black war horses that we'll have. That'll be the only way you can get it is to go through the prestige process. And then finally, probably the coolest prestige item that you can possibly get through the honor system, through prestiging, are these unique PvP artifact variants. So if you want to get these specific looks for your artifact, the only way to do it is to go through the prestige system. And that'll signify you as somebody who has really done a lot of honor killing. Here's a look at a few more. So a lot of those that, those specific looks that Ian was pointing out, we're going to reserve one for PvP exclusively. They're probably very dark and shady versions of them like that. And so that really summarizes what we're talking about for Honor version 3, and hope that, to us, it's really exciting for us because it feels like the most significant change we made to PvP in a long time, and hope that you guys are as excited about it as we are. So with that, we conclude our PowerPoint presentation explaining more about the content and features. I want to thank everybody that's been here. Obviously, this has been a lot of stuff to digest, and want to thank you guys for coming to see us. Really appreciate it. Love you, game. We're going to be on live stream on Sunday, where we're going to be answering a number of different questions. Obviously, there are going to be a lot of questions from the community over the next couple of days. We're going to be keeping our ears opening, listening for questions, and answering as many of them as we reasonably can during the live stream on Sunday, so stay tuned for that. And finally, hope to see you all in the beta later this year. So thank you
so much. Ian and Alex from the World of Warcraft development team. You really shed a lot of light on that expansion for us, and yeah, that even got me more hyped than before, so thank you so much for all those details. We really saw some amazing things to look forward to, and once more, of course, in the name of everyone here, thanks a lot for coming. The guys will be on the live stream, blizzgc.com. This is where you can find us from tomorrow onwards. Every evening, we're going to have guests such as the lovely guys here who are talking about their games, and we're going to show what's been happening during the day at at Gamescom. So make sure to tune in for all of that. I thank everyone for watching on stream as well at home. So we hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you.